Thank you, my friends. The hacker has now been ejected.
I'm Baldwin Giang. I identify primarily as a composer, but I'm also a coder. I also am a pianist, and I do interdisciplinary, collaborative, intermediate work.
And I'm Valerie Zhao. I specialize in research on human-computer interaction and human-robot interaction. Because of Art Science and Culture Initiative grant opportunity, I wanted to explore having a robot in a setting that's not completely science-focused, but rather more art-focused.
The first part of the collaboration happened just over Zoom because I was living in Philadelphia at the time, and we were just trying to define a research question. So it was a lot of just weekly meetings, and Valerie did some literature review, and I began brainstorming the project. Our project grew out of a cultural problem, which was that the pandemic did not allow performers to perform in front of live audiences.
With a remote audience, the performers don't necessarily get a lot of input from the usual clapping or booing or cheering or kinds of feedback from the audience. And likewise, the audience doesn't necessarily get the energy from the performers.
The project is in two parts. The first part is a performance study of a piece for robot, improvising performers, and interactive audience on Twitch, a remote streaming platform. So the audience is entirely online and remote, but they're watching performers play with them through a Twitch stream, and they are responding to questions and prompts, and their responses interact with the music that the performers are playing. So the audience has a very direct method of interacting with the performers.
For every audience of roughly 20 to 25 people, the performers will perform their Baldwin's composition.
The style of the piece is all over the place. It references disco, it references electronic music, like EDM music, it references classical oboe playing and free improvisation.
We also ask the performers and the audience members to complete surveys during and after the performances so that we can gauge whether they felt like the robot as being helpful or engaging or in any way.
We basically have been writing this code in two parts, where I write the base of the user interaction that the audience does on Twitch. The second stage of it is Valerie adds robot actions and gestures to manifest the audience's comments.
And then we would compare that audience's response to an audience that only had the chatbot in the performance.
The main conceit of the piece is that the robot is interacting with the audience, but also learning from them. And so in the process of learning from them, it learns what kinds of music the audience likes. And part of the narrative of the piece is that as the robot learns more, it takes it all on, and the music becomes even denser stylistically.
Robots are supposed to be able to behave in a way that seems autonomous unless you explicitly disable that. And so that's kind of a path that we had to go down and to really understand the robot better.
Robots making music makes us think about humans making music differently. So if robots are capable of being expressive entities through music, what does that imply about human expressivity? Are humans that special if robots can do it? If robots can be effective mediators for audiences, what does that imply about being a human audience? What makes being a human special if robots can do this job too?